Hey, what's up? This is Agent Morales-Demori, and I'm here at the Shure booth. And as you all know, I'm a big fan of the Axient series, but I noticed the AD600. I wasn't familiar with it. So I got my friend here, Sam, that is going to be talking, and he just finished doing an explanation, and I think it's something that you guys need to hear about. So, Sam, thank you so much for taking the time. Can you run us a little bit of what's the idea of the AD600 and how it integrates and is helpful for the Axient series?
Absolutely. So the AD600 is our digital spectrum manager. It's really the brains behind the Axient digital system and some of the special features that it can do, in particular the automatic interference detection and avoidance. So when you're doing your coordination on the AD600 or in wireless workbench, you can pre-coordinate those backup frequencies and push them to the AD600. It then continues to monitor those frequencies over time. So when your Axient digital receiver starts to notice that it's taking an interference hit, it raises its hand to the AD600, says, I have a problem, I need a new frequency here. The AD600 has been watching those backup frequencies over time. It serves you the best frequency that has continued to be good since you did your scan, not just at that moment you did. It pushes that frequency over the network to your receiver. Using the AD610 access point, it also wirelessly pushes that same frequency to the transmitter. They go at the same time, so you never have one side move and the other side doesn't. All of that happens in about 100 milliseconds. So by the time you hear an RF hit and look down at your hardware, it has already solved the problem for you.
And what would be the main reason? Because I was explaining to you that I use a lot of Workbench. Yeah. So what would be the additional benefit of the difference of if I'm working with Workbench to having the AD600?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest features, like we talked about, is that you get that continuous scan over time. So if you're just working with Workbench, you can pre-coordinate those backup frequencies and have them live in Workbench, but when you do take an interference hit, you don't get that automatic avoidance. You still have to manually push that new frequency, and because it's not monitoring those frequencies over time, you are kind of picking at random to some degree and hoping that the frequency you picked is still going to be good and wasn't just good 4 or 6 or 8 hours ago when you ran that scan. Okay.
And this works with the AD610 correctly? This is... Yeah.
Yes, correct. The AD610 is the access point that facilitates that two-way communication between your transmitters and the rest of the receiver system and Spectrum Manager.
And then, in this case, we're talking about the Axient, but you have the LXDs. Would they still be able to work together on some point, or?
Absolutely. So the Spectrum Manager is still going to be very, very useful for running your scan, doing your coordination, pushing frequencies to the receivers. The features that you lose are that interference avoidance. That's something that is only available at the Axient level, but you can absolutely still have it on your network, have it managing backup frequencies, monitoring those backup frequencies over time so you know they're good when you have to manually dial them into the other wireless systems.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sam, and thank you for your time, and Absolutely. More information about Infocomm 2023.